Hello everyone, this tutorial video will show you how to download Recode, install mods on it, and use multiplayer. Timestamps to each section will be provided in the description below. Without further ado, let's begin. First, you'll want to download the mod from the Game Banana page. Once downloaded, extract a zip folder and put it somewhere you'll remember. I usually put mine on my desktop and pin it to quick access so I can easily access it from my files in the future. However, it's up to you how you want to go about it. Once you have Recode placed where you want it, you'll next need to copy almost everything in your Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion folder and place it in the Recode one. To do this, go to Spooky's in your Steam library, click this gear, then press Manage and browse local files. From here, you can copy the data folder and Spooky application. If you have the DLCs, you should copy those folders as well and place them in the Recode one too. All other files aren't really needed, but you can copy them if you want to. They just won't do anything. Once you copy over the necessary files, it should look like this. Now for the final step, which will be Delta patching your Spooky's exe. To start, download Delta Patcher if you don't already have it and drop it on your PC somewhere you'll remember. Open Delta Patcher and select the original Spooky's exe as the original file. Then select the recode.exe.xdelta as the xdelta patch. Click Apply Patch and boom, your Recode is now ready to play. Click the newly patched exe to see if it works, and if it does, congrats, you now have a playable copy of SJSM Recode. Now, while vanilla Recode is all fine and dandy, it was made with the intention of being easily moddable and allowing for mod support. As such, Recode has exclusive mods that can be installed into it using its mod loader. This part of the tutorial will explain how to install these mods and use them. First things first, create a folder in your copy of Recode called Mods. This is extremely important as you'll be placing all your Recode mods into this. Once you have your folder created, it's now time to start downloading the mods you want. For this tutorial, I'll be downloading the Recode example mod that adds the custom specimen Gurgle to the game. Once you have your mod of choosing download and extracted, place it into the newly created mods folder. Now, once your mod is properly inside the mods folder, open up the mod loader exe. I forgot about Windows Defender. Yeah, just let it run the program. I legit forgot about this while writing the script. Inside, you'll see two different lists. One called Installed Mods, and one called Downloaded Mods. To move a mod from one side of this list to the other, just click on it and it'll move. Now, to explain how this program works, basically the mods in the Installed Mods category are mods that will actively be in your Recode experience, while those in the Download Mods category are those that are downloaded to your computer but are kind of just sitting on the back burner, waiting to be moved. This allows you to control which mods you want running in Recode at any given time. It allows for easy adding and removing of mods without having to actually delete the mod files off your computer. However, do keep in mind that the order you put the mods in the list will determine the order they are loaded in. This is especially important for mods that change textures, as if you put them in first, another mod's code might override them. So make sure you keep in mind the order of your mods, as those at the top will be loaded first in comparison to those at the bottom. Once you've selected your desired mods to run in your copy of Recode, hit Escape to close the mod loader, and then open up Recode. If you've done it right, your downloaded mod should now be running in Recode. If you've been following with the example mod I used, you can check if it's properly installed by going into the behaviors in the Customize menu. If there is a new category called Example, that means you did it right. Now, not all mods have easy tells for if they're installed, depending on what they are. However, if you followed this tutorial correctly, you should have no problem loading in any mods you want to install. Now for the section I'm sure most of you have probably been waiting for. Recode supports up to 8 players and local co-op. Yes, I said local co-op, as pure online co-op is not possible due to game maker limitations. That being said, you can still play multiplayer with your online friends with the power of a program known as Parsec. Now, to save time, I won't really be going into the details of setting up and using Parsec. There are plenty of tutorials online if you need them, with one linked in the description for you to use if you're new to it. Without further ado, let's get into how to play Recode with your friends. To begin, go to Settings, then scroll down to Controls. You'll then see Controls again and Input. Go to Controls, and from here is where you'll decide who plays what player. I would recommend having player 1 set to keyboard controls, as this is the one that controls the menu and other important features. While you can of course use controller for player 1 as well, I'd still highly recommend at least the menu option at the bottom is set to mouse/keyboard, and that in the input section of the control setting, the menu is set as follows to ensure you don't accidentally lock your main menu to only being usable with controller. As for other players, and player 1 if you're using controller for that too, you'll need to set the controller ID. The ID ranges from 0 to 7, with the ID number correlating to the first controller connected to your device. For example, if you have 3 controllers connected, the first controller would be controller ID 0, the second controller ID 1, and the third controller ID 2. For loading the specific keybinds for a controller, just simply scroll to the specific controller you have connected and press E, which will successfully set up the proper bindings you need. If you want to change certain bindings, you can use the input menu in controls to change the input of whatever player you have currently set in the controls menu. Once you have each player's controller set up, it's now time to test. First, go to the main menu and select the little player icon with a plus. We'll mess with this feature later, but the most important thing is you set the max players to however many are playing with you. This is important as if you don't properly set it, you'll end up by yourself. Also, the setting resets each time you reboot the game, so don't forget to set the max players every time you boot up Recode if you're going to be doing multiplayer with someone. With the max players set, start up a new round of Recode and just mess around to ensure everyone's controller is working. If nobody's controllers work, go back to the controls section and press refresh controllers. Otherwise, there should be some kind of input. If the inputs are wrong, or certain people aren't linked right, just switch around the IDs until they line up with whose controller is what. You'll probably not get it first try, but with enough trial and error you should be able to find out who controls what and get every player properly set up. Once you know who controls what player, it's now time for the fun part, customization. Remember that little player icon with the plus you had to select for setting the max players? Well, it also has all the settings for customizing your character. In this menu, you can change your name, color, and even sprite. Feel free to mess around and customize you and your friends' characters to your heart's content. As a side note, the name given for the players here, including player 1, is the one used by characters like Whiteface and other fourth wall breaking characters who use the player's name. And that wraps up this tutorial video. If you have any other questions, feel free to check the description of this video, as it has an FAQ section. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you have a very fun time playing Recode.